Hey guys, this is Toni and welcome to Action for Aging, where we're tackling life's most underestimated season with intentional action and a big dose of self-love. If you're searching for a channel dedicated to this season of life, then welcome, this is your community. This doll here belonged to my oldest daughter, who is now 18 and in her senior year of high school. And she hasn't played with this doll for years, but I've gone ahead and put that away for her. This little doll right here, oh my goodness, she doesn't have panties on. Excuse me one moment. Okay, this modest little lady right here is my youngest daughter's doll, and it is so cute. It has like violet eyes, as Elizabeth Taylor might have had back in the day. And she's just so cute. Both of them are the brand GOTZ. I am not sure how to pronounce that, and I'm not going to chop it all up. Somebody hand me a butcher knife. So I'm just going to lay them right there. Friends, I could not bring myself to part with those dolls when my girls became of the age that they weren't interested in them anymore. I love them. I know that they love them. And so I think it's okay to hang on to that little token of their childhoods. And maybe someday, who knows, they may be moms themselves and they may want to pass them on to their children. It's okay as we age, right, to hang on to things that we value, things that are important to us. What's not okay is ageism. Let's talk about it, shall we? Okay, so ageism. Aging challenges and maybe even threatens the values that we've held so dearly for so long. The value to be independent, right? The value to be in control of our own lives and the decisions that we make for ourselves. The value to be valued by our society, right? To be held in the same esteem that other generations are held in. Unfortunately, I don't think that that's always been the case in our culture. And I also believe that it's time for a change. Guys, this is life's most underestimated season, and we need to tackle it with intentional action and what? A big dose of self-love, right? And that starts right now, as we are in this season. Look, there are many other special interest groups and communities who have really voiced their right to be accepted. It's time for the over 50 crowd to do the same. But what can we do, right? What should we do? Let me ask you this. Are you motivated to do anything against damaging ageist attitudes? Consider the following stereotypes. Over-the-hill parties to celebrate a milestone birthday. Greeting cards, taking advantage of the mature community and making light of it in ways that aren't very respectful of us many times. What about when you go to your doctor with a chief complaint, maybe something to do with menopausal symptoms? Maybe you're a man and you're getting up to urinate frequently in the middle of the night, and that's your chief complaint. All too often, those kinds of complaints are dismissed based on age. Did you know that only 10% of the medical schools in our country require work in geriatric medicine? 10%. That means that only 10% of the focus is on our generation, guys. Us, the over 50 crowd. And yet the mature community makes up nearly 50% of ICU admissions. The wise, the weathered, the long sufferers, the survivors, that's us, guys. We are absolutely the most underestimated season, and it has got to change. All future generations depend on us to change the perspective on this season of life, on the season that they will find themselves in soon enough. We have got to change the dialogue so that we can crush ageism as it rightly should be crushed. Any form of discrimination against any group or community, guys, is just not acceptable. And we have the power to change that. So how do we do that, right? Let's start with poor health. First of all, poor health is not only related to aging, and we can choose in this generation to do better where our health is concerned. For one, you could address your diet. Let's start there. If you have some kind of health condition, I'll use diabetes as an example, Clearly, there are dietary steps that you can take to try to reduce the impact of your diabetes or to even improve your health. Another thing would be exercise. When I got to age 50, I found it kind of cruel almost that as we're tiring and as joints are breaking down, we suddenly find ourselves in a position where we have to do more, right? We suddenly have to exercise. It's not actually an option to maybe or maybe not do it. But as I embraced that, I found that feeling my joints more mobile and loose and lubricated, finding myself having a little more energy to interact with my family or to get chores done, became a wonderful thing. And it's kind of a momentum that you get going. So there's another thing that we could address is our level of activity. If you are on the more senior side of our mature community, your level of activity could be lighter. You could maybe do some very light weight training. You could use the ground floor level of your home to walk laps. One great thing about that is you are familiar with your own territory, right? So there's no uneven sidewalk that might come up or any type of obstacle that you would necessarily be unaware of. I would also suggest this: if you're not getting enough sleep at night, I know sometimes over the age of 50 that can be a real challenge for us. One of the things that you can do that's very practical is to just go ahead and schedule your sleep. To have a general idea in the morning as your day's unfolding that I would like to lay down tonight by say 10 p.m. What will I need to do prior to that to see that I do that? That can produce big results for you, better energy, feeling more alive during the daytime, eliminating that midday drag just because you got enough rest. And another thing you can do is eliminate the stressors that you possibly can eliminate. So don't overschedule, don't overorganize. Oh my goodness, that can be so stressful when you put that kind of pressure on yourselves. Another thing that's so important to do is to educate your medical professional. And I really believe that if you are over the age of 50, you are part of this voice and you have maybe even a responsibility to speak up and see that our community is respected for the long haul, not just for us, but as I said, for future generations to come. So with your medical professional, if you get the sense that they need to hear this message, then be bold. Remind them that they are treating illness, not aging, right? Aging can't be stopped. There isn't anything we can do about the next birthday and the next. They're gonna keep coming. And God willing, they're gonna keep coming, right? But illness can be treated. Be sure that they're treating your illness and not dismissing it based on aging. Don't allow ageism to be perpetuated with any kind of degrading, whether it's coming from outside of ourselves or even self-degrading. Let me explain, and please hear my gentle voice on this, because I do realize as I speak about this that people generally mean well when they use particular words with us, okay? But we are not honey to a young person. We are not the elderly. We are the mature community. I am not sweetie when I'm getting a blood draw at the doctor's office. I am Ms. or Mrs., my last name, or you can call me by my first name if you like. But the pet names, while most likely completely harmless on the part of the person who speaks them, are not the best choice. Now, I trained as a registered nurse. I was taught in nursing school that it is unacceptable to refer to my mature community patients in that manner. And so it is a real thing, guys. It is an ageist comment when somebody is referring to us, not with the respect that we deserve, but with pet names that speak to our age. I wouldn't say jump down the throat of every person that uses those kinds of words with you. Obviously, we take that on a case-by-case basis. We sometimes know the heart of the person that's using those pet names or terms. And so we can extend grace in a circumstance like that because we are graceful, right? That is part of the wisdom of our aging. But when we know that a stranger is referring to us that way instead of addressing us by name, it's completely appropriate to say, I'm Mrs. So-and-so, or I'm Toni. I would prefer that you call me Toni. Done. You're not being rude in trying to turn that conversation around, but you're certainly educating. In terms of self-degrading, if you forget something, it's not really a senior moment. We don't have to cover it with that. Everybody at every phase of life forgets. And it doesn't have to do with frequency. That's unimportant. It's okay. Another thing that we can do is educate, educate, educate. See a great article on aging and the perspective that we would like people to have about our mature community. Take advantage of it. Post it on Facebook. Post it on Twitter. Bring it to your channel. Bring light to the positive. That's one thing that we can do. Another thing is to avoid products that are inappropriate and that really are not respectful of our mature community. If it is maybe a greeting card that takes the lightheartedness about aging too far, we don't need to purchase those things, and we can be outspoken about that. If it's, hey, I love beauty products, guys, just as much as the next of you, and I'm always in search for something that makes me feel better about myself or helps with softening wrinkles, I'm for all of that, right? Beauty products that make me look better and feel better, that's wonderful. But exaggerated claims that are targeted toward our community, merely reaching into our pocketbooks, that is not acceptable. I would refuse to extend my hard-earned dollars to that. We're way too wise for this, right? We have a vote, and that vote is cast with our spending dollars. And so I don't need to place my money where I get the sense that you're merely taking advantage of the fact that I'm aging, and be on the look for television programming or movies that show us as feeble or simple-minded or helpless. And don't watch those shows. We deserve to be portrayed in a positive light, guys. We deserve to expect to be respected like any other community or special interest group would, correct? I'd like to read you something that I wrote recently as I pondered this topic. And it says, the gist of what it means to be human is that we are not our outer bodies. We are our souls filled with wisdom and remembered experiences, common experiences. We are spiritual and emotional, intelligent and compassionate. We, the over 50 crowd, fear and we trust, think and we feel and process. We are not our outer bodies, and so we should never be discriminated against based on the age of our outer shell. It's up to us to change the tide, guys, and if not us, then whom? How do we get serious about ageism and speak up for real change for life's most underestimated season? That's a question I would love to hear your responses to. Go ahead and leave a comment in the box below. If it's your first time here visiting my channel, thank you so much and welcome. I would encourage you to go ahead and hit the red subscribe button below, ring the bell next to it, and that will make sure that you never miss any of my new content. I post new videos every Sunday night, sometime after 8 p.m., and I'm doing my best to bring bonus videos to you throughout the week too, so be on the lookout for those. I would like to say a special hello to those who actually have subscribed to my channel, who do not have a channel themselves, and therefore I'm not able to visit you in return. On that note, a shout out to Rhonda. I know that you subscribed this week and that you do not have a channel, so I thank you, Rhonda, for being there. I also want to give a shout out to my friend Jodie. I'm going to go ahead and link her channel below. Let me tell you real quickly something special about Jodie. She is perhaps my youngest viewer, and she is across the globe from me. She is so beautiful and so sweet and so funny, and she's everything a girl her age should be, but she's something very much more, guys, and I know you'll all appreciate this. Clearly, Jodie's parents are raising her to not see differences in people. Jodie doesn't look at me as an over 50 person that she can't relate to. Jodie's just my friend, and I love that so much about her. She is just adorable. So please do me a favor, visit her channel and give her some love. It's well deserved because she embraces us just as we are, just as we as human beings should be doing. It's exactly what I'm speaking about on today's episode, and she's a perfect example of somebody who respects and treasures us for who we are and doesn't treat us differently based on age. Thank you, Jodie. I love you. Please remember that you are special and you are so valuable in this season of life right now. So act on it. Goodbye, friends.